We have 4 minutes to share any breadcrumbs, God winks, treasures we have picked up along the last 24 hours, 48 hours, this past week. Does anybody have anything that they have picked up that they would like to share this morning? Wow, slow week.
I'd like to share just the book, When God Winks. If you haven't read it yet, I would highly recommend you do. A friend of mine had talked about it, and I know another friend of mine talked about it months ago, and there's Nancy with the book. And I downloaded it on Audible and listened to it on Sunday, and it was exactly what I needed at the time. So it was wonderful.
That is awesome. Winks, not wakes, winks. Becky, just so you can put that in are you typing it in, Nancy? Is it like little short segments, or is it like chapters? Like what kind of is it in a quick read?
No.
Brenda or Nancy?
It was a very quick listen. I listened to it, and it was different chapters, and it was kind of like different stories within the chapter.
Okay. Personal stories?
Or nationwide stories, really.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I think since we have God Winks every morning, that should definitely be a book that I add to the shelf. Get read and add it to the shelf for sure. Squire.
Squire Rushnell, yeah.
Rushnell. Okay. Do you have any comments on that, Nancy? Because I know that's kind of where we picked up God Winks from, was when you shared that with us a few months back.
Yeah. It's really about picking up on the signs, like watching for and just paying attention, watching, listening, looking, feeling for how God shows up in your path on your journey. So yeah, there's some specific stories, but it's also like tips for how to pay attention and see them too. There's one chapter that I think could be really helpful to some of you on family God winks. And in your daily routine, seeing how God shows up to support you as you're living your daily life.
Yeah, love that. And that's too, just becoming aware, right? And knowing that God winks aren't always these big, fireworks shows, that they're the little things, the little breadcrumbs that we pick up along the way and that we pick up on along the way. So, yeah, good stuff. We'll have to get that book. It is 10 after, so head off, get your intentions done, and we'll meet you back here at the top of the hour. That leaves us with 9 minutes to go back to any God winks, breadcrumbs, treasures we have picked up, or if there's something on our mind, on our heart that we would like to chit chat about, bring to the table, see what's stirring up inside of us. Do you have anything this morning, ladies? No. I have something, but I did not bring it to the table. You know what? I'm just kind of off this morning, so I'm not going to lie. Got a lot going on. So that is what I will bring to the table.
So I have a kind of a God wink, and then it might trigger other thoughts or some good conversation. But I think earlier this month in Growth Hour, which I think I was only at part of it, but one of the things that Terry Ann was sharing that came out of that as she was preparing for Strategy Hour was this idea of, I wrote it down, like failure. So we were talking about how important it was to have vulnerability, and how vulnerability supports us in learning about any, lack of a better word, failure, right? And that all successful people fail, right? And fail oftentimes more than they succeed, right? They, like, it's the failure that gets them there. So the idea of, and maybe you guys were there, but this idea came up evidently of the fortune is in the failure. And we build our fortune grows, through failure. So we were having a conversation about that. And I said, and then the other thing that came up was that there's also fortune in the follow-up, right? So if there is failure, what do you learn from that? And then how do you follow up so that you can then utilize what you learned, right? So the fortune grows. So it's like, first it's about accepting that, okay, it didn't go the way you wanted. What did you learn from that? But then it's now, what's a step you want to take based on what you learned, right? So then through that conversation, we were also talking about what came to me, and what I wrote down is the fortune is in the feedback, because sometimes it's not even really a failure. It's more that we got feedback, right? And I think sometimes we take feedback as a failure, but really it's just information. It's just data. And so anyhow, my God wink is, so we can talk about that, feedback versus failure, right? But my God wink was, today, I have the opportunity to facilitate a discussion with a company who is preparing for a convention next week with a brand new association that they're representing. And the new association, most of the members are not happy with them taking on this role. So they know they're going to get a lot of feedback, which right now they're calling complaints, right? So we know we're going to get complaints and we have to address that. So my whole thing today is to go in with using this concept at the fortune is in the feedback, right? And getting the feedback is so valuable. Like, you want the feedback, right? So anyhow, now that turned into this, okay, I'm going now, before I go there, I'm going to go to the Chinese restaurant and buy fortune cookies so that I can send this message about, hey, the fortune is in the feedback, right? And like, you're getting feedback. That's a good thing. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that because the whole conversation turned into this, something I can really use as I'm supporting one of my clients. So anyhow, did that open, anything come out of that for either of you guys?
Yes, go ahead, Brenda.
Well, just thinking about that, how we feel like we should be perfect. We shouldn't have those obstacles that others might have. But in reality, it's God's way of sharing some lessons that we need to learn. And we have to grow ourselves to become the person that other fortune will award. And last night I went to a networking event and I only knew one person. So it was a great opportunity to meet other people and really, embrace that, nobody knows my backstory. Nobody knows what we're doing now. And it was so amazing to just lead in with what I'm doing now. I didn't have to talk about why I'm not doing something, right? Why did I sell my business? Are you kidding me? It's supposed to be the #1 year for weddings next year. Well, that's great, but I don't have to explain that. And it felt so good not to have to do that part and just lead in with what I'm doing now. And now it will be, the fortune will be in the follow-up. If I actually follow up with these people that I have met, and the feedback that I will receive from them, and being open to receive it, not just, oh yeah, okay. So I think being open when we're maybe asking for things, and as a new company, and as you walk in with that, I love the fact that you're going to bring the fortune cookies in, and I hope that they're open to receive your feedback to them.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Nancy. Did you have something?
No, I just, as you were saying that, all of a sudden I went, ooh, yeah, like this could totally backfire on me, right? If they don't get it. But then again, it's like that's the fortune, right? Like what will I learn from that? What can I take from that? Yeah, I love it.
Well, I think one thing, just on that note, that you can take, we can all take, is that stirring, that God wink was placed inside of us to move on. So no matter if 300 of the 301 people don't get it, there's one person out there that needs to hear what you have to say, and that's why you're stirring around it. So, I mean, that's a breadcrumb right there, us listening to our stirrings that, ooh, this has really moved something inside of me. I also love what you said. I think absolutely the fortune is in the feedback. I mean, it is such a fortune. Like that's how we grow. We need to hear what other people have to say. The problem is people don't want to hear what other people have to say. One, because they can't handle it, or two, because they can't handle it, I guess. I mean, many people can't handle that. And we were taught that, perfection is key. Like we've got to be perfect at it. Especially if we're in this big business or big company, or we're running our own show, like it's got to look like this. And then the third thing on that is just failure and complaint. Like we're taught that these are bad words, like even when I heard you say it, like, it's like, ugh, I don't like that. I don't like that word. I like to I mean, if we're calling it failure, I think we all have to fail. I mean, we have to fail, right? Like, but why does it have to be a bad thing? Like we're taught that, oh, failure is bad, complaining is bad. But I love how you switch the complaining to feedback, because I mean, moving in those words matter, and failure and complaint sound like, where fortunate, feedback, like, those words right there just sound like gold, So that's what, stirred up inside of me. I love failure. I love failure, but we need a new name for it, like opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, words matter, right? And
Mhm.
that's yeah. Or can we see failure as how we, maybe there's nothing wrong. Okay, now I got to
There's
look up.
nothing wrong.
Yeah,
There's
I gotta
nothing
look
wrong.
up the word failure now. I gotta look up the definition, because sometimes like we make it something that it's not.
Do you guys have time for a pop-up hour?
I do.
I have to head out to a mastermind.
Okay, I'll stick around if you want, Nancy.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, great to see you, Brenda. we will pick up where we left off, or if we need to go somewhere new. But we were talking about the fortune being in the failure, and how God winks at us through all things that happen in our day. They're breadcrumbs. We pick them up along the way, and we can look at them at the end of the day and see if we have a slice of bread or or what we have in front of us. So was there anything else that you wanted to continue on around that? I may have something else.
Yeah, you go. I feel good about where we ended that. So
Mhm.
yeah, what else is showing up for you?
Well, I picked up a book called, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but the 40-Day Miracle Project, I think. So which has, is on the lines of our breadcrumbs and God winks, bread winks along the way. And it was talking about when we make, it's all about the gratitude, right? And we all do the gratitude list, or many of us do, I should say, do the gratitude list for what we're grateful for. But it really geared the gratitude list. So starting with each morning, I am grateful for, but really writing those other things down. Like, I am grateful for the struggle this morning and going deeper into that. I am grateful. So not could be the failures, could be the more the leaning negative side of things, like writing down those, because that's where we can go deeper, and that's where we can find the true miracles, is going deep into our struggle, our anger, our resentments, all these things that we've always posed as, negative, the complaining, the words that are on a more negative realm. So going into those and being grateful for them, because putting that energy, so we talk about putting the energy out there, going in a positive direction. So we put positive energy on our struggles and our failures and our angers and our resentments, and it somehow, so in this miracle project, brings them around to finding the miracle in them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense, and it's very in alignment with, the mental fitness practice that I do, which is, everything is a gift or an opportunity, right? So it's like seeing what's the good in the situation. And, one of the things that comes to mind for me, like, and I love your idea of writing it, because I think I don't write those, even though in my mind, I navigate them to see the opportunity. I don't write what I'm grateful for out of that. So like, when, and so like my husband is very reactive, right? And he'll, he's very just like a judgmental reaction, like so-and-so's an idiot, right? And so when he does that, what I've now gone to in my mind is that that whatever is behind his comment is bringing out my negativity, right? It's getting me, like, whether it's the word or his tone, whatever it is, for some reason that's getting to me. So that's the gift in that is I get to practice recognizing that my negativity is surfacing, and I can control that. I can I can convert that into something positive. And I don't mean like dismiss, but I can learn from that, right? I don't mean like dismiss the negative, but like, okay, so this is my opportunity to shift into a loving mode, love on him, versus get defensive and yell back or whatever you might normally do, So I kind of see that in alignment with what you were saying, is that you know, if we always, you know, there's a comment, right? The struggle is real, right? Well, if that's true, then what's the gift in the struggle?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to have struggle. We're going to
Mhm.
have failure. We're going to have differences. We're going to, you know, so
Yeah.
if, you know, identifying what that struggle is and what we learn from it. And like
Or
that, being grateful, it's not even learning from it. It's just, hey, I'm grateful this, I get to experience this. Like, you know, it's even kind of like, hey, I'm alive and I get to experience this, or I
yeah,
don't, you know,
yeah.
yeah.
And just holding it. So holding that emotion, that feeling, whatever it is, and letting it be. It's so it really explains about letting it be what it is. Us not judging it as negative or positive, just feeling it when it comes up. Ooh, that feeling. And you know, letting it be what it is. So being grateful. So I am grateful for the way my husband judges people, you know, like putting that out there, because then it allows you to become aware and go deeper within. So not judging it and trying to tell it what to do, or saying, ooh, how do I make this and I'm not saying you, but this is just what it's saying. How do I make this into something positive, or how can I whatever? How can we just be with it?
Yeah, I hear, yeah, I like that. And that's interesting, because if you then when you read back on what you're grateful for, right? And you come across, I am grateful for the way my husband judges others or
Mhm.
whatever, right? Like
Mhm.
that sounds like a negative thing, but is it?
But is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I am grateful for this discussion with Sister B
Heck
on just,
yeah.
yeah, on just
This
the
was good.
wisdom of that. Yeah. Oh, and it's 8:14. Ah,
Yeah. I
okay.
just got to share one more thing with you, because I wanted to share it with you on Decide. And I know we're just a little bit over, but it was about decisions.
Oh, okay.
Um, but it had to do with this. So let me just, okay. And there's context around it, which I can find, but I'll leave you with this. How we make decisions changes. We'll know it's okay to relax, because when it's time, we'll know what to do and we'll be empowered to do it. We'll know what we don't ever need. We'll know we don't ever need any answers we don't have. And we don't need to make a choice we can't. We'll also know that sometimes not making a decision is making a decision too. So I think the key there was, we'll know we don't ever need any answers we don't have. And we don't need to make a choice we can't.
Yes.
I thought of you Sunday when I read that, and I'm like, I gotta get this to Nancy. Like it was
Yes.
about decisions, but also about today, about just letting those things be what they are. Because we're judging them when we call them positive or negative.
You're right. You're right.
Hold the triggers, love the triggers. What's in the
Yeah.
trigger?
Yeah. I like it. I'm writing this down right now in my gratitude book. That I'm grateful for conversation with Sister B on realizing that what we perceive as negative doesn't necessarily have to be.
Mhm. It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
For sure. Yeah.
Because God winks.
Yeah. For sure. Thank
So,
you.
hold
All
the
right.
space for you to get your stuff done.
All right. See you at 10:02.
Sounds good. We do have 8 minutes to either continue on letting our morning unfold with the conversation and the stirrings that we have shared, or if there's something new that's popped up that we need to discuss or mastermind around, like this would be the perfect opportunity to do that. Living in faith that what needs to come out will come out. Any thoughts on what I shared before we left?
Yeah, I love that. And I don't know if you can like tell me what book it's in or what you were reading, where you found that. I would love to explore it.
Yeah, let me go grab the book real quick.
Okay, thanks.
And so it just really goes along too with kind of what we talk about a lot in the Faith Hour is just that journey within. Like so for the summit, my title of my personal talk is Finding Freedom in Faith, taking that journey within, because we do have all the answers inside and we don't have to make them. We don't have to create them. They're there. What our job is to connect with our source and let them unfold.
Mm.
And we get so caught up, especially I know when I was in like, I'm trying to create this business that I'm doing. So that was what it was for me. I'm trying to create this business. I know that I want time freedom. I know that I want my own financial security. I know, no, blah, blah, blah. But everything I did was making it happen. I'm going to make it happen. Instead of letting go, letting God, and letting it unfold into what it needs to be. We don't know what it needs to be. I mean, we know the desires of our heart, but we don't know the details. And that's the faith journey, right? Having the faith that who we call God, who God is for us, is the master planner.
Mm-hmm.
The one in charge, the source of where we get the things we need. So
there's so much about what you just said that I'm like, yeah, like, why do we always try to control it? Like, maybe control is not the right word, but decisions can also be a form of, controlling something. I mean, there's a time to make decisions and there's a time to just sit with it and let it be. Okay.
and even in that, so and I'm sure I've thought about this at some point, but I mean, there's a time to make decisions. Is there, or is the decision to know that being in our truth and connected with ourselves, the decision will be made when the time is right?
Yeah, well, and
I don't know. I'm just
and the decision maybe is there. I mean,
yeah,
already.
We
just don't want to,
we're not
follow
ready
it
to
or
move
see it.
on it
Yeah.
or call
Yep.
it what it is.
Yep.
And that's another thing. It is what it is, right? Like, so are we living in that it is what it is, or are we making it what we want it to be?
Yeah. It's interesting because yesterday I was talking too about the difference between instinct and intuition, and that I tend to work from instinct, and that a lot of times, honestly, my decisions are just my instinct. And that then I often work backwards into how it supports my why. And it always does. You know, and so that's, as I'm listening and you know, hearing you speak to this, I'm like, there's sometimes I think, oh my gosh, like this is already what I'm doing until I think too hard about it. Right. But that is how I live. I am very instinctive, and I do what feels right to me or what comes to me, you know? Sometimes it doesn't always feel right, but it just comes to me to do it.
Yeah. I, and that's a God wink, right? Like, that's a God wink, like our gut. I know. I mean, and I would love to hear your, like, what you feel is different about instinct and intuition. I mean, for me, it just feels, one feels slow moving and one feels on. Here it is. Here it is. You know, but really, I feel like they're one and the same.
So to me, instinct is what comes naturally, right? It's like you just, you don't think about it. And intuition is more you're internally connecting to something that you know to be true, or there's a knowledge-based piece to following your intuition for some reason. That's how I perceive it. So like intuition is more about knowing, instinct is more about being.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, when I think knowing, I think that is, I mean, that's our soul, that's our core, that's our essence. And instinct, I feel like, comes from that place too. It's more of a bam, here it is. But intuition, I feel like, comes from that same, I mean, like, in my perspective, like, that knowing is that bam instinct. Maybe we take more time to let it unfold into the intuition, but instinct feels like that very core essence, like it's coming right from that mustard seed.
Yeah, maybe instinct is like the doing of the knowing. You know, like instinct is you just, I do it first and then I connect to the knowing. I think that's,
Or I already know, and so my instinct can go. Intuition, letting it unfold a little further and deeper and detailed.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. That's a good one. I'm going to write those two down and sit with them. I love where this went.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the name of the book that you
The
were
name of
reading?
the book is Make Miracles in 40 Days.
Ooh. Love it.
Turning what you have into what you want. And the author is Melody Beatty, or Beatty.
Okay.
Of Codependent No More.
Is it Beady or T?
Beattie.
Ah. Okay, thanks.
And with that, I thank you for hanging out with Pop Up Faith on Purpose.
Yeah, you're welcome.